guys, I'm Anne and welcome to Chronically Beautiful, where we are trying to live our best life even though we probably don't feel like it. And it is just before Christmas. We are in the depths of the holiday season and I know that I am stressed out and I'm working really hard not to be. So today we're going to talk about a few tips to manage your holiday stress, because the last thing any of us needs is to get all stressed out, because we know that that makes us sick and it exacerbates conditions that we might have. And even for people that are regulars that are not chronically ill, you do not need to get sick either. And we all know that stress is really bad for you. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, keep watching. But first, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so that you'll be notified of all my future uploads. All right, let's dive right in. Okay, we all know that the holidays are very stressful for a million different reasons, but I think that we should break down exactly why the holidays are so stressful. And I think that there are three things that really stress us out at the holidays. Number one is how much time all the extra holiday stuff takes. Number two is how much money all the extra holiday stuff costs. And number three are very high expectations for how everything is supposed to go. If we're able to get to the depths of those three things and figure out how we can cope with each of them a little easier, I think that the holidays are going to be way less stressful. So number one, let's start with time. We all know that the holidays take a lot of time. Everything takes time. Standing in line to go shopping, going to 100 extra events that are happening, just the time it takes to buy the gifts and then wrap the gifts, the time it takes to decorate the house. Just the tree alone takes hours, and my house is really decked out, so it takes me quite a while. And there are so many different things that you're doing that take time. Traveling to go visit family members and going from house to house and trying to cram it all into one day. Baking of cookies, making special handmade gifts that everybody really just looks forward to. There are so many things that we do to ourselves, and we don't take this much time to hand bake cookies all year long and to hand make gifts every second of our life and to drive all over the world making sure that we stop at everybody's house for 30 minutes on our long schedule of one day. We don't do all of those things on a normal day, but for some reason at Christmas time we convince ourselves that all of that is necessary, and if we don't do all of it, we're a bad wife, we're a bad mom, we're a bad sister, we're a bad daughter, we're just the worst person in the world if we don't take every spare second of time that we have and cram it full of Christmas. Well, I'm sorry, but it's a no for me. It is. It's too much. It's too much. I love Christmas. Like, I cannot tell you how much I love Christmas. If you saw my house, you'd be like, are you serious? It's okay to love Christmas and love the traditions that you have without feeling the need to cram in every single tradition that has ever existed in your entire life every single year. It's okay to not do that. It's okay. Say that to yourself. It's okay. There have been so many different things that I've done throughout my life for Christmas time. When I was a kid, we always used to make cookies, and we always did handmade ornaments and handmade gifts for everybody every year. And those were things that I absolutely loved doing. I really cherished that time. It was a very special time for my mom and I. We just loved it, and it's something that I did do as an adult. I did continue to make handmade gifts for many years. I'm a huge crafter, but in the last few years, I just haven't had the time. I've just, the free time that I have had, I haven't wanted to spend doing things like that because I just want to take a nap. You know, I've been tired. I've been dealing with depression, and that part of me has kind of gone to the back burner for a little while, and I felt very guilty about it for a long time, but you know what? I don't anymore. I'm giving myself permission for that to be okay. I'm giving you permission. Not that you need it, because who am I, but whatever. Making cookies. That's something that I used to love to do with my mom, and then I did it when I was younger and had more time. My kids and I have done it a couple of times, like way back when they were very small, and it's something that it was one of the first things to go off my list. If this is something for you, like, get rid of it. let's just get rid of cookies. If you have a chronic illness, you should not be eating all that stuff anyways, and you know it. There's sugar and refined carbs and grains and all those things you know you shouldn't be eating. So why are you making stuff that you just have to give to someone else and sadly watch them eat? That's one of the reasons that I stopped making cookies. And the other reason is there are other people in my family that do that. There's somebody on my mom's side of the family, my cousin Tanya, who makes amazing cookies, and then my mother-in-law makes amazing cookies. So like, who needs more cookies? Who needs more cookies? Who needs more fudge? Like, my contribution to the sweets world is not going to be missed. So that's the first thing I'm doing to de-stress, is I'm not worrying about baked goods and handmade gifts and cookies. It's just not something that I have time for, that I can. And on the subject of the gifts, I mean, again, I loved making the ornaments. When the kids were little, we made ornaments every year for all the aunts and uncles, and they loved them, and the grandparents, but they're not into it anymore. So like, why am I gonna force them to do it, right? Like, if your kids are over a tradition, it's okay for you to move past it too. Something else that I have let go, and I'll probably bring it back, but I just don't know. And this one was really hard for me, and I still feel really crappy about it. This is the second year that I haven't done Christmas cards. I get fewer and fewer each year. I think more and more people aren't doing them. And I find that I was, sending them to people that I haven't like actually spoken to in a million years. And maybe some of them not even on Facebook. And I do love getting everybody's pictures and things like that. And there are a few that I get that I absolutely adore that have notes in them. My Aunt Beverly always sends a card with her newsletter in it. And my college band director and my college orchestra director, they always send a Christmas card with their yearly newsletter, and I live for those. I just love them so much. But so many people now, it's just a card from Vistaprint with everybody's picture on it, and that's that. And that's all I was sending to. There wasn't even, really a heartfelt message. There was no note. It just wasn't personal anyways. And if people want to see my family, they can look on Facebook because there's pictures there. And maybe we'll, do an elf yourself and throw that out there. I mean, there are a million ways to see everyone's pictures and to check in with most of the people in your life. If you've got a few family members that aren't online, then yes, by all means, send them a nice note. But you don't need to make it a priority to send 250 people that you haven't talked to in 12 years a card. So save yourself some money, because postage is getting expensive, and save yourself that time scribbling your name on a million things thoughtlessly and then having to fill out all the envelopes. I was to the point where I wasn't even filling out envelopes. I was just printing off labels, and it was just like sending out a business thing. So it wasn't even personal. So if you were looking forward to my Christmas card, I'm so sorry, but I am not doing them this year, because let's talk about the parties, the ornament exchanges, the cookie exchanges, the white elephant parties, the Friendsmas and the Friendsgiving and the Friends years, and the million different parties that there are to go to. For many years, like probably a decade, I threw an awesome game party every year. I started doing it when I was in college, living in an apartment, all the way through to being a grown-up and having my own house. And we always just played a lot of games, and then we did the world's most obnoxious white elephant exchange, and it was amazing. And I still have the last white elephant gift that I got from that, which was this horrible alligator head that we were always trying to get rid of. And it was such an awesome time in my life. But when I got sick, it was one of the first things to go. It was just too much. I already host Thanksgiving for the family. We already have Christmas Eve at our house for the family. We have a Friendsmas party that we really love that has a white elephant and all of that, and one that we, go to for our closest friends. We just went to that, and that's pretty good. And I'm feeling like I don't need to find 50 different parties to go to. I don't have to, say yes to every invitation I get on Facebook. I don't have to look for every community's tree lighting, for every parade that's happening around town to drag the family to. Our holidays are pretty special already. I work really hard to make our house beautiful and festive, and the kids really love that. I think Amelia said the other day that she really liked this aesthetic. which I take as a huge compliment from a teenage girl. You know, we decorate our tree together. It's very special. 2 of the kids' birthdays are right around this time of year, so that's more stuff that we're doing. It's a lot. And you don't have to feel like you need to go to every single thing, and it's okay to just say, you know what, we can't make it this year. But I hope you have an amazing time. Merry Christmas, God bless. One thing that I absolutely would not give up because it's so special to me is that each year my amazing friend Amy, what up Amy, invites my mom and I to this beautiful ladies Advent tea at her church. And for me, it is one of the most special things I do for the entire holiday Advent season, and I wouldn't miss that for the world. And I'm so blessed that I get to go to that each year. For those really special things, absolutely go, but I think something else might have to go for you to have time to do the things that are really meaningful to you. So those are a few ways to kind of pare down on how much time you're spending. One other thing that's like, duh, do your Christmas shopping online. It is the most amazing thing. I really just started doing that last year. I would always get a couple of things, like things that I just couldn't find in a store, but now I'm like, why would I go to a store? Amazon literally has anything on the planet that I need. If they don't have it, I can go to Kohl's.com or Target or anywhere else, still get all the Black Friday deals, and not have to set foot in a store at all. I am literally now doing probably 95% of my Christmas shopping online. Everything was here super quickly. It is the best thing that you can do for yourself. If you are a big gift buyer, you have kids, you have family, it's still a big part of your life is gift giving, just do it online. Save yourself the stress, the traffic, the parking spot fight, standing in lines. Shop online. The other giant stressor of the holiday season, of course, is money. And just thinking about it, I'm like, oh my gosh. A lot of the things that we talked about when we were talking about time, a lot of it is here in the money category too. There are things that you can skip. For every party that you skip, an ornament exchange, and event that involves gifts, you're saving yourself some money there. You don't have to go to every place you are visiting through the entire holiday season with bucketfuls of gifts. It's okay for your presents to be gift enough, but it's okay to be reasonable. Everybody on your list does not need a $50 gift, and some of you, I'm sure, have way more money than I do, and like $50 is nothing, but not everybody on the list needs a luxury item. You can give a thoughtful gift that someone will use and enjoy, and it doesn't have to break the bank. It also doesn't have to be a contest with anybody else about who gives the best gifts. I feel like everybody is so concerned about keeping up with the Joneses at Christmas time that, you know, your kids have to get the highest end electronics because all the other kids are going to get that. But if that's not in your budget, then that's just not your reality. Your kids might not be getting an iPhone 11. The season isn't supposed to be about gimme, 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 gimme. That's just not what it's supposed to be. And we know this. The season is about love and caring and generosity and all of the ways that everyone needs, which doesn't just include gifts and money. And a lot of the ways that you can save time, you can also save money. We talked about getting rid of the holiday baking. We've talked about getting rid of Christmas cards. We've talked about maybe not hosting as many parties. I mean, each of those things can cost so much money. It's hundreds and hundreds of dollars to host a party at your house. And that's, for me, I don't even buy liquor and it's that much money just in food. So it's a nice way to kind of cut some things out, and an amazing movie to watch all about this topic of saving money at Christmas. If you've never seen it, Christmas with the Cranks.
Happy holidays.
And the book is called Skipping Christmas, and oh my goodness, it's such a great book. Highly recommend it. Great read. I love the movie too. It's just really cute. But they discover that they've been spending $6,000 every year at Christmas on everything from having to buy a fresh tree every year to all the donations to every different charity that you don't care about the rest of the year, but now all of a sudden it's really, really important to do it because it's Christmas time. It's hard to dole out all that money at once. Perhaps if you're wanting to give to charities, you could spread it out throughout the year in a way that works better for your budget. Cutting out some of the things that are stressing you out time-wise is also going to save you money as well. The obvious in the world of money, and I am by no means a financial expert. Discuss it with your partner if you have one. Set a budget. Stick to it. That's it. That's it. If you have X amount of people you need to buy for, decide how much you feel is appropriate to spend on each one. Set that money aside. Save a little bit all year long, but just there's no reason for you to go into thousands of dollars of credit card debt because so-and-so thinks that they should deserve to be getting the most high-end gift in the world. You don't need to do that to yourself. Your kids love you. They will appreciate you no matter what they get. It will be fine. Set a budget. Stick to the budget. Okay, this is kind of the big, important one. Expectations. Many years ago, I was visiting a therapist, and a piece of advice he gave me was to lower my expectations. And at the time, I thought to myself, what? I can never see this guy again. Are you serious? Lower my expectations. I had spent my whole life to that point as a perfectionist, as the best of the best in anything that I could be. It was never enough unless my expectations were all the way up here and I was reaching them, and every single person around me was reaching them too. And is that any kind of way to live? No, it is not. I can tell you right now. It absolutely is not. It's not realistic. It's not healthy. It's really not healthy. It's very stressful, and it just kind of makes you a jerk. You know, people don't want to be around someone who makes them feel on edge all the time and like they need to be perfect every second. And it's hard to think about living in a world where you lower your expectations, but it could be the best thing you ever did for yourself. Lowering your expectations about anything, but especially about Christmas, as this video is about, the holidays, lowering your expectations gives you an opportunity to enjoy life as it comes to you. It makes it so that you don't have to take everything and get your hands on it and try to mold it into this perfect thing that you think it should be. And that's really, really hard to not do that if you're a control freak, if you're a perfectionist. And I think many of us, especially those of us who deal with illness, are control freaks. It's a natural side effect of having very little control over a lot of things in our lives. So then we cling to the control that we might have on other things. But having those expectations about your holidays being this perfect moment of decorations and love and Martha Stewart and Pinterest and Polar Express is just, it's not realistic. It's not realistic for you to have for yourself. It's not realistic for your family to have about you. You can't be Clark Griswold, who's got his 5 billion imported Italian twinkle lights, because what happens when he plugs those in and they don't turn on, he completely loses his and that's it. This is what happens to all of us. One little thing doesn't go right. We've got all these expectations piled on top of ourselves that it has to be just right. And it's not gonna be. It's not. I promise you, it's the only thing I know for sure is that it's not gonna be perfect. Nothing is gonna be perfect. And it's harder for me than most people to say that because I am a perfectionist and I do love things to be just so and to be all in their place and to be beautiful and to use just the right dish for just the right food at Thanksgiving and things like that. And I know I need to relax, and I encourage you to do the same about that. So one way to manage your expectations could be to either sit down and reflect by yourself, or sit down with your family or your partner, whoever you spend your holidays with, and say, okay, what do all of us really need from this holiday season? What are the things that are non-negotiable for us to miss? What are the things that really mean the most, that we really want to make sure that we do? And what are the things that we kind of don't care about anymore and we can just sort of let them go? I think that could be a super beneficial conversation for you to have with your people or with yourself. Just start journaling. Make a list of everything you think is an important holiday tradition in your world, and then go back through and see what you can pare down off of that list. So this year, my family and I didn't go to any parades. We usually go to 2 holiday parades, and we did not go to any, and no one really noticed or said anything, and it just kind of wasn't a big deal. When they were little, yeah, parades are great for little kids. They love them, and I'll never forget my son, he was like maybe 3, and the parade was ending, and there was Santa coming up at the end, but in front of Santa there was a float that had the manger and the nativity scene, and I'll never forget, he was like, "It's Jesus! And it's Jesus! It's Jesus! Jesus is coming!" All the other kids were freaking out because Santa was back there, and he just was like so psyched for plastic Jesus to come rolling by. It still's like my favorite memory, you know, and I have that memory. I don't need to take the 12-year-old him that could care less about any of it to the parade, because we've done it and it's okay. And it's not something, just because we don't continue to do it doesn't mean it isn't a fond memory and tradition in our hearts. Taking out old traditions and old things that used to be super important to the family gives you an opportunity to try new things and go explore some different things that may be more age appropriate for your kids, or just better for you and your partner, or just something that you enjoy more. But there are a lot of things on your list that probably don't need to be, and it is okay to let some of them go. And you might not want to let certain traditions and expectations go just because maybe they are really connected to someone that you love that's no longer in your life. I know for me, Christmas just reminds me so much of my family on my mom's side, and it's just something that makes me think of them and just feel so warm and cozy. And my grandma, who I lost many years ago, you know, I still think of her, and she just loved penguin ornaments, and she just always made things just really fun and special. And I'm able to pull out my ornaments or decorations that came from her or used to belong to her, and I can just remember her fondly. But that doesn't mean that I have to do everything for Christmas that she always did. You know, my mom and I had many things that we did together when I was little that I absolutely loved, but it's okay that I don't do those with my family now. We have a few things that we still do that are little special things, but you don't have to do everything. Forget about your Christmas or your Hanukkah or your Kwanzaa or your holiday or whatever you celebrate. Forget about that looking like it looks on Pinterest. I love Pinterest, don't get me wrong, I have like 5 jillion pins. I absolutely love Pinterest. It has seriously changed my life in many ways. Like I have learned so much from it. It's changed the way I cook, the way I research things. But there's a backdrop behind me right now instead of my usual setup, because there's so much crap piled up here that I can't show it to you. And on Pinterest, you don't see that crap, but you assume that it doesn't exist because that's what Pinterest wants you to think. That's what we all want each other to think. That's why we use filters on Instagram, and why we set pictures up just so that you see this clean part of the house and not the rest of the wreck. I mean, everybody wants you to believe that what they've got going on is perfect. It's not. It's not. There's a bunch of crap behind a backdrop. That's true of everybody, even every person that puts all these perfect pins up on Pinterest. If you are expecting your holidays to look how they look in a Hallmark movie, in Martha Stewart's kitchen, or on any pin you have found on Pinterest, unless it showed a sink full of dishes and a bunch of piles of Amazon boxes, then you're just putting too much pressure on yourself for it to be perfect. Because the reality of life for most people is a sink full of dishes, a pile of Amazon boxes, and a bunch of crap behind a backdrop. So just let it be okay. Let it be okay. Let your Christmas be your Christmas. Your Christmas does not need to be a Pinterest Christmas.
A Honolulu Christmas, a Pulp Fiction Christmas, a Muslim Christmas, Moroccan Christmas, Morocco Christmas. I don't want it. Christmas is Christmas, it's Christmas, it's Christmas.
It's not realistic for any of us. Sometimes I feel like Pinterest was just created to make us feel bad about ourselves. I know I kind of ranted. This video is really sort of a rant, but I hope I covered some ways to save you time, save you money, save your sanity by lowering your expectations a little bit. But there is one more thing I want to throw in, and that is At this time of year, we cannot allow ourselves to be spread too thin to the point where we get sick. There's so much happening, so many places to go, so many people out in the world with their extra germs and whatnot that aren't usually out. Don't let yourself get so caught up in all of this mess that you forget to take care of yourself. It's really easy when you're stressed out like this to forget to eat healthy, to forget to take your meds and your supplements that you're supposed to forget to stay hydrated. Thanks, water. It could be a potentially really bad combination for you, especially if you're dealing with chronic illness. You put all the stress that you're dealing with and then all of the stuff that you're forgetting to do to take care of yourself together. Flare up much? Definitely. So, and at the very least, you're going to end up with some kind of weird virus and you're just not going to be in a good place. So another great reason to do all these things we've talked about for your own health and your own mental health especially. I care about you. I don't want to see you get sick, and I don't want to see you get so stressed out during the holidays that you forget what they're about and why it's such a beautiful time of year. So I really hope that these tips and my ranting will give you some ideas about how to cut the stress in your life this holiday season. I really am glad that you came on this adventure with me. Thanks so much. Keep coming back. Take care of you.